they have the know-how that can help me overcome, right? Make sure I avoid any type of pitfalls or challenges or bad decisions, and the who that has the hows that will help me go faster. Right? So I changed my peer group. So into this, and then Ken will kind of let people in, whoever hops in here. This was kind of a short notice web class today, but in the book of Hosea 4:6, it says, "My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge." And the crazy part is what comes after that is what's really mind blowing, right? It says, "My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge." And it's not because they didn't have knowledge, it's because thou has rejected knowledge, right? And this came from the Bible, and obviously the person who has knowledge is God, right? His people are destroyed for lack of knowledge because thou has rejected knowledge. And this brings me to my topic today, right? So I just got done coming obviously from Asia, and then 2 weeks ago I was in California, and at a Bo Eason event, who's one of my mentors, right? He's a storytelling mentor, and all my peers that were in that group. And then last week we're at Funnel Hacking Live, and again learning from one of my mentors, Russell, and then some of my other mentors were there too, like Tony Robbins was there. He was one of the keynote speakers, Myron Golden, and all my inner circle friends are there too, right? And then also the people that I coach were also there too, which kind of made me think about this particular web class today and my entire 19-year history of entrepreneurship, and even before entrepreneurship, um, all the who's that were in my life, right? And it's not the how, it's the who, right? And we're going to start here today, talking about the web class today is about the 5 who's. The very first who is, who do you run with, right? Who's part of your tribe? Who's your peer group? And I was sitting in the room of Bo Eason's storytelling class called Story Power, and I was looking at all the peer groups, right? The people that I've reflected on, all the people that I actually run with, right? And then I was at Inner Circle. Why did I become a platinum partner? Why did I, join certain masterminds? And it all really is because one of the things I've learned is if I'm the smartest person in the room, I find a different room, right? Yeah, peer groups um, have a way to elevate you, right? And that's one of the things that I learned is one of the patterns that I changed in myself was I changed my peer group, right? In 2018, when I decided to go online and spent 2 years struggling, one of the things that I learned from Funnel Hacking Live when I went to my very first Funnel Hacking Live that reminded me that all my successes, even prior to going online, was really because it's not the tyranny of how, it's not all the hows, the strategies, and tactics, but it's actually who, the who's that actually has the hows. They have the strategies, they have the tactics, they have the resources, they have the know-hows that can help me overcome, right? Make sure I avoid any type of pitfalls or challenges or bad decisions, and the who that has the hows that will help me go faster. Right? So I changed my peer group. So one of the things that has elevated my game through my 19 years of leadership and business and now online has because I changed my peer group. So who do you run with, right? Who are you? Who's your tribe that you're running with, right? And then the second who is who inspires you. Who inspires you? And one of the things that I also changed while at Funnel Hacking Live was that I changed my pattern. The pattern that didn't serve me anymore was a pattern of trying to figure it out on my own. So when this December was my 19th year, right? 2005, December 3rd, 2005 was my very first business that I opened up in Tampa, Florida. And one of the patterns that I changed was only reason why I was able to start that business because I didn't try to figure it out on my own. Right. I tried to open up businesses prior to that, actually, before 2005, and I wasn't able to. And one of the patterns I changed was that I got help. I got coaching. I got people who knew what they were doing to help me open my business. Right. So it kind of baffles me, just like when I started this tonight's web classes, based on Josiah says, my people, right, are my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge because thou has rejected knowledge. Right? Thou has rejected knowledge. So I've changed my peer group so I can get the knowledge that I want from the who. And then also I changed my pattern, right, to figure out who actually can help me get there faster, right? And then the third is who are you called to serve? That's your third who. Who are you called to serve? Who's your tribe, right? Just like us, our mission is to help experts become anywhere entrepreneurs, right? That want the freedom to live, to work, to earn from anywhere, doing what you know and love, while impacting the lives of those that you've been called to serve. That's our mission. That's our tribe. That's who we are called to serve, right? So, but before all those three who's, who are you called to serve? Who inspires you? Who is your who do you run with, right? I want to talk about that in a little bit here. And where we're going to spend most of the time is who you want to become, and then who are you now, right? That's where we're going to spend most of the time. So, Michaela, I'd love to know. Hi, Teresa. How are you? Teresa, I never got a chance. I was looking all over for you. I was super busy as well at Photo Hang Live. There were so many people pulling me left and right, and I was talking to a whole bunch of people, and we had a bunch of inner circle events. So yeah, I never got a chance to see you. But Brandon and Dwight somehow found me in all that big crowd, and they were attached to my hip the whole time. But yeah, so let's start there, right? Teresa, how are you? How was Photo Hacking Live for you last week?
It was great and it was crazy. There were so many people, and unless you were in the room before where it was lit up, you really could only see the people that were right around you.
Mhm.
So it ended up really good because of that, because I met a lot of new people. Because you
Wow.
just tried to find a place that you could see things and was comfortable. So probably every day there were at least 10 new people that I was exchanging meetings. That's a lot over the time. And I
Mhm.
did get to
Mhm.
run into just a few outside in the halls, because once we got in there, you really couldn't
Yeah, you
find
did.
anybody. But it was so
Yeah.
amazing. I mean, it was so much information. And even though some of the speakers I've heard before and all of that, they brought new things. And it was just, so I decided I wasn't going to take a ton of notes. I was just going to take the things that really were hitting me for right at this
Mm.
moment. Still
Yeah.
had a
Yeah.
lot of notes, still had a lot of stuff. But yes, I came back with, rather than a ton of stuff, my head was still full. I came back
Yeah.
more of what I needed to go back and look at, reduce some things, add some things, because when you have so much going on and so much new stuff, you think you're doing the things because you heard it. And then you go
Mhm.
back and you look at it and you go, oh, I'm not doing this at all. So I went back, redoing things, resetting things. So that whole week and this week was a big reset. So,
Okay. Very good. Very good. Um, so since you're up, let's talk about that, right? So we're talking about the five who's, right? Because that's really, the five who's has changed my life, right? I believe that my investment in myself, investment in others, investment in coaches, investment in being in rooms, because lives change in rooms, right? My peer group, um, and transforming myself from where I was to where I am now, and continue to do so, I think has easily 20, 30, 40, 50x my return. And that is so crazy that people don't invest in who's, right. They're always trying to find the how, and finding the how by themselves most of the time. And most of the time they make a decision based on money, time, right? But money, and thinking that, because they save money, they're smart, and ultimately what they're doing is they're wasting time,
Right,
and
right.
and time is life. So essentially, if you're saving money, but you're really wasting life, you know what I mean? So what's more valuable? So that's why today I want to talk about who is, because there's so many strategies and frameworks and everything that I've covered here, and the last two who's are vital to this. Right, we're going to go really deep in the two who's. So who do you run with? So let's talk about your world, right? Who are your peer groups? Who are you connecting with? Who are you having calls and masterminds with that are within your peer group? What are you doing there?
Right. So that was where one place that I relooked and redid because I was all over the place with that part. I
Okay.
was pretty clear on who I was following and the
Mm,
strategies in the map. So that was pretty clear. And then who I was running with was several groups all over the place. And also, it's like, oh, join these groups, answer these questions. And I ended up kind of all over the place. So I came back and said, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. Let me go back to the who I'm serving
yeah.
and how am I going to best serve them in what groups, in what capacity, and really came back to that. And then the second with that who was, okay, who am I going to be with and working so not just productive, but the things that are going to be bringing me money. Yeah.
Yeah, totally, totally. Well, that's the thing. I wanted to talk about this fifth who a little bit deeper with you guys. And so I'm part of Tony Robbins Platt. I'm part of Inner Circle, part of Myron's as well, and I'm part of Bo Eason's. And here's the thing, right? So those people, Bo Eason, Myron, Tony Robbins, Russell, those are the fourth who inspire me, right? But when I talk about the fifth who do you run with? What I mean by that is you're gonna be in this room, and doesn't matter what
Yes.
room you're in. It could be like an inner circle room as well, or a platinum partnership room. But here's the thing: not everybody in there is going to be successful. Let's just be brutally honest here, right? So how I leverage the fifth who is very, very simple. When I go into rooms like Inner Circle, just like how I was this last four days at Funnel Hack Live and the 4 days at Bo Easton's event, I would go around the room because these are my peer groups who said yes to the
Mhm.
same coaching, to the same mastermind as I did. I'm very straightforward. I said, how do you use this stuff? And most importantly, I asked one question. So where are you using this? What's
Right.
being taught to us, right? What's being shared with us? Where are you using this? Second, I'm very direct. And what result? What result are you getting by using this? And I'll know who's who that are really making it happen. Does that make sense? Because some
Yes.
people
Yes.
come into that room. Sometimes they just come because they want connection. Maybe they're coming in to sell their own stuff as well.
Right.
I really look at the people that are actually doing something with the thing that I'm actually learning as well. Does that make sense? So when I talk
Yes.
about who do you run with, let's be very careful when you actually go. I'm pushing you into rooms. I want you to, because lives change in rooms, but let's be very. I wouldn't say just cautious, but be really more intentional
With
as
who
you're
you
in the
connect.
room.
Yeah.
Correct. What correct. So just like this, right? You, Michaela, right? Brandy and Sarah and all these people are coming in. Like even within our group, whatever I share, very very simple. You just say, hey, let me ask you a question. I love what C shared, but hey, what are you doing with this? Where are you implementing this? And what results are you getting with this? Because then you can really know who you should be running with. Because
Right.
you should be running with all of them. Does that make
Yeah.
sense? Yeah.
Right.
You should be running.
Well,
Yeah.
I had been spending a lot of time, of course, on Facebook because that's where I started my stuff. And I think
Yeah.
we discussed this before where I was getting a lot of coaches responding to my stuff, but not necessarily my people. And several
Mhm.
times linked up came up, and I thought, no, because that's going to be more coaches. Well, after doing that and speaking with some people, I thought, wait a minute, I'm looking at LinkedIn the wrong way. I'm not
Mhm.
going there necessarily for them to be my people, but to get ideas and for them to help me find my people. So
Correct.
so
Very
I've
good.
shifted from all the stuff on Facebook. I'm still doing Facebook, still love the people doing that, but it's now shifting to, okay, being with people who are going to, one, exchange with me and also help me find those other people. So
Yep.
that was probably my big shift. So yeah. So
Very
I'm
good.
working
Very good.
there and making those connections. So
Very good. Very good. Yeah. And then I like what you just said a little while ago. And Michaela, let's unmute yourself here. The fourth who is who inspires you, right? Who inspires you? And I like what you just said, Teresa, just now. You said, I went there. I didn't take notes on purpose. I went there. I only took notes on the things that I needed to learn. And so the who inspires you, right? What you really should be following, consuming, hanging around with are people that 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 inspire you based on the thing that you need now, right? And I see
yes,
it all the time. People are like all over the place on who they follow and what masterminds they join, what coaching programs they join, who they consume on YouTube and all that stuff. And I'm like, no, one of the things I learned, right? If you want to achieve more, you have to eliminate more. So
yeah,
write that down. If you want to achieve more,
definitely.
you have to eliminate more. So I only follow a handful of people, right? Because I know that these handful of people are people who inspire me on the things that I need now, right? Because more information, more coaches, more frameworks, more systems, more processes is not going to change your life, right?
Not at this
It's
point now.
100%. It's you knowing your outcome, you knowing where you're at, you knowing who you need to be, you know how to close that gap, and you need to find the people that can help you close the gap now, and that's who you follow, right? That's who
Yes.
you inspire. And don't get so um, drowned in all the noise. Does that make sense? So, Michaela, right, and Teresa, in what you're doing now, in what you're currently doing now, what you want to do, right? Who you're called to serve as well, right? Like who inspires you to continue doing what you're doing, and let's make sure that you're not being inspired by the wrong people right now, the things that you don't need. Exactly. So go ahead. Who inspires you, Michaela?
Okay, sorry, I was just well, I would say you inspire me to start because you're just so knowledgeable and humble at the same time. So it's refreshing take on all of this information. Because some of the guys out there are really cocky and it's hard to like focus when they're like I like them, like I love Hermosi, but I loved all his books. And then when I started seeing him all over socials, I was like, oh, because I had never seen him speak before. I had only ever read his books and I thought they were really good. And I like his confidence, but it's just different. I'm not bad talking him. I'm just saying it's just different, like
Yeah.
when I've seen him, speak, it's just different. I'm like, oh, it's different. But also some other people I'm inspired by I see this lady, Christina Galbado. I don't know if you've heard of her, but she sells all these courses on how to do a blog, how to do, be an influence, how to get paid for posts and stuff. And she sells another one on how to make a course. I didn't buy that one because I'm in this one, but my friend gifted me the first one, the blog one, and she's just really good. In her 20s, she's a multimillionaire as well, self-made millionaire. In the past few years, she's made 10 million and like worked a regular job. And you know what I mean? So I'm inspired by another female as well, just for perspective, because it's rare to see women. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
But she's not a mom and I'm a new mom. So I really wish I would have got this started the first time around, because one thing I realized is I probably also need a mom millionaire mentor, because like to someone not like who I just look at their stuff and I'm inspired by, because it is really hard with the baby. And I haven't had a nanny for like a month, and I've been so inconsistent with everything because I just have to stop and be with my baby. And he's like, I think also having a nanny made him more spoiled because he always has to have attention every second of the day, And so I love being with him, but then it's like, oh, I can't work now, you know? So finding the time to get stuff done. But I know that you've given me some tips on that. And, you know, honestly, when it's nap time for him, sometimes I'm a nap first, you know, I'm already falling asleep.
Yeah.
Tired from him, you know? So we take our naps together and it keeps me sane, you know? But I'm really inspired by, just like your average self-made, you know, person, you know, even if not a millionaire yet, just someone who's on their path, very organized. And I love today's, if you want to achieve more, you have to eliminate now, because moving, when you move, you like get rid of so much stuff, you know, and it just feels all so good all over again. And I feel like, you know, like I'll have help next week and I'll be able to meet with you and like get back on track on everything. And then I think I can attract my people, you know, and I like what you said too, Teresa, about LinkedIn, because, you know, I have learned from watching others post, you know, like, oh, what are they doing? You know, what are they talking about? And even nutrition people, it's like you know, basically just mimic, but you change it, but you're basically doing the same thing that, you know, if someone has a good funnel, like you teach us your funnel, you know, and to kind of see not their funnel, but just like what they're posting and what's trending, and just to see what's going on is really helpful on LinkedIn as well, you know? So
yeah. So I'm gonna get you know, in terms of who inspires you, I want to share this with you. I'm gonna share this this slide with you real quick. If you want to talk about mentors, right? Mentors that you want to be inspired by. Maybe some of your mentors have all of them, have all of these areas, these 7 areas. And if they don't, my suggestion is find them, right? So let me give you a good example. Let's talk about the very first one, right in the middle of their self-worth, right? And if you yourself need a mindset coach, a life coach, an emotional coach, right? Who inspires you so that you can feel good about your own self-worth, that you are enough to do this, then that might be a coach that you need, right? And if I'm not it, you should find one, right? Does that make sense? That's when we're talking about the 4th who of who inspired you. That's what I'm talking about. Second is self-mastery. So in your particular niche, I believe that you should have a coach that is in your particular niche. So if you're a copywriter, then you have a coach that could, you know, really up level your game in copywriting. If you're the vegan lifestyle, you can have a coach that can help you really, you know, level up your mastery. Why? Because you're trying to sell this offer that has vegan lifestyle. Maybe somebody out there is ahead of you in how they built their community for vegan lifestyle, or how they live that way, whatever that is, right? So that could be another coach that inspires you. And then outside of that, and all the things that you must do, right, to be seen. For example, you got to market yourself, and short form, long form podcasting, right? All of those, some of that can be multiple coaches that inspire you. Somebody might be just great at podcasting. You might need to get a coach that's just on podcasting. Another coach might be great on running Facebook ads or building a Facebook, you know, a LinkedIn, you know, organic, whatever it is. Like those are some of the coaches that inspired you to do that thing, right? And then serve, right? How do you build relationships? How do you be a leader? How do you communicate? How do you add value to people? That's a totally different skill set as well, right? So you might need to find a coach that inspires you there. Sell, right? You might not be good at sales, and I might not be the coach for you to teach you sales. So that you might need a coach that will help you how to persuade people, how to overcome, how to handle objections, how to overcome rebuttals, how to sell, right? How to close, right? All of those things, you might need a coach that for that. You might need a coach to show you how to get people to get results, support your clients or after they say yes to you. How do you help them get results? How do you get them their mindset or whatever it is? How to help them implement so that they can execute and implement, get the results. And then last is scaling. Maybe you need a coach that can help you really scale your business if I'm not the right person for you, right? The key here is you got to find people who inspire you on the things that you need done, right? And not every coach is the right fit for you. Make sense? Right? That's what we're talking about here. Okay. Does that make sense? Any questions there?
No questions, but so we all do this. I figured that, but then you always show us all your different coaches. So that's what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Like you have so many, and every time you talk about a new coach, I'm like, oh, because I heard Tony Robbins the most, but then you were talking about Donald Miller, which I love his
Yep.
the way he does things. And so you're what I feel like also though through you, because I wasn't undermining you, you still are my favorite. But what I was saying was through you, what I was trying to say was I feel like I do get all these people as well because you do have all these different coaches. And so that's why I'm like, well, I'm already kind of using you for this and this and that. But just a female perspective is nice. That's all I was saying, and then also you have
totally.
kids, and you have a wife who has kids
Yeah.
who also has a business.
Yeah.
So when you do give me ideas, I am like, oh, okay, like that's how they do it, So I think it's special that you have all these different coaches that we can learn through your coaches,
Yeah, totally. So the one thing that, the one thing also that if I'm one of those that inspire you, right? I'm one of those who's that inspire you. I believe that it's also great to be inspired by someone like me, and the reason for that is because you may not have access or resources to be a platinum partner of Tony Robbins, right? For example, or to be an inner circle with Russell Brunson, like that. That's just those two alone. That's $135,000 a year, right? Just those two alone. Bo Easton's another 50,000. So you may not have access to them, but you have access to me. And whatever I go out and whatever life I change in those rooms, I bring back to you guys anyways. Does that make sense? So sometimes you have to be inspired by those coaches that are being coached by some of those coaches that ultimately that you should be you want to be coached by anyways. Does that make sense? Right. So yeah, the fourth who is so powerful. And then the third who is who are you called to serve? Right? Who are you called to serve? Okay. Which is ultimately your tribe, the people that that need your help, the people that are, like in your case, Michaela, your vegan lifestyle, you're helping people overcome their suffering or their pain, right? So who are you called to serve? But what I really want to spend most of my time here on this web class, that's why we're talking about the 5 who's here. They're so important. Who do you run with? Your peer group. Who inspires you, right? All of the coaches, the people that you should follow, right? That are going to help you go faster and help you, avoid some mistakes that they've made. Third is who are you called to serve? But where I want to spend time today is who do you want to become? And then who are you now? Right? Because you can have all the frameworks and the strategies. You can fill all these coaches in one room. They can give you the right processes, the right systems, the know-hows, right? They could be the who that can give you the how. But unless you're ready for it, right? That's where it starts. I believe that your business starts when you're ready for your business to start. So whatever results you guys are not getting right now, let's really dive into getting you ready so that your business can start and become and get the result that it's supposed to get this year, right? So let's dive right into, I want to talk about self-worth. I think this is so critical to discuss. And I'm going to give you this, right? You are the only one. You're the only one out of hundreds of millions that fertilize the egg. If that isn't proof enough that you are worthy, that you are enough, I don't know what will. Right? Because if you really think about it, right? God doesn't lie. Mother Nature doesn't lie. There's 100 to 300 sperms in creation. And out of those 100 to 300 million sperms, there's only 1% that make it to the uterus. So that means that only 1 million to 3 million somewhere make it to the uterus. And then from there, only 100 to 200 make it to the egg. And out of all of that, only one can fertilize the egg. You, me, everybody on this call. So why is it so hard for us to believe, to feel that we are worthy, that we are enough? That is such a powerful proof that you are enough. You were one out of hundreds of millions that fertilized the egg. The biggest barrier to success isn't strategy, guys. It's seeing your own value. You are worthy of success, and your gifts matter. And that's where I want to start. You see, your self-worth is tied to everything. Your self-worth is tied to whether you're going to take action. Your self-worth is tied to if you're going to create that offer. Your self-worth is tied to if you're going to market, get seen, stand out. Your self-worth is tied to whether you're going to make your offer. Your self-worth is tied to how much you're going to charge for your offer, how much you want to make in this world. Your self-worth is tied to all of it. It's to all of it, right? So I'm going to share with you a question that's always been asked from me, is that the very first, I'm going to walk you guys through 4 questions. The very first question is this. Hey, Cease, look, I get it. I get that taking responsibility is important, but what about things that are out of my control, like my upbringing, my past failures, or even people who have wronged me? I've had this question before. And my answer is this. The moment that you take responsibility for everything in your life is the moment you can change anything in your life. Okay? And when we look at what's wrong, right? Tony says what's wrong is available, so is what's right. If you're going to blame someone for the wrong, you better blame them for the right too. Because if they done you wrong, what that did was it got you uncomfortable, and when it got you uncomfortable, it created you. It created you. So you better blame them for the right too, because what you were created to, you became the right? You became stronger, right? Tony said this. So my question to you is, before you can decide to figure out who you want to become, let's really talk about who you are now. And take radical ownership, take full responsibility for your life. The first who is very, very important, who you are now. The most successful people have one thing in common. They can only control their response. You can't control everything, but you are 100% responsible for what you do next. Right? So how do you ensure that you take full responsibility, take full radical responsibility for who you are now, in order for you to get to where you want to go? I'm going to give you some exercises too. I'm going to give you some things that you could do. The very first one you can do is do this exercise called the No Excuses Challenge, right? Ask yourself 3 questions. First is, what areas of my life am I making excuses for? Second, what areas of my life am I waiting for someone to come save me? And third, what areas of my life am I waiting for something or someone to change before I take action? This challenge, this no excuse challenge, 24 hours, catch yourself. For the next 24 hours, eliminate all excuses. If something goes wrong, don't blame, take ownership, and find a solution for the next 24 hours. This is the no excuses challenge. Second is rewrite the story, right? Rewrite your story. From an ownership perspective, instead of, I can't grow my business because I don't have a big audience, say, it's my responsibility to build my audience and reach more people. I don't have time to work on my goals, say, I am responsible for how I spend my time, and I can prioritize what matters. Catch yourself when you go into blame mode and immediately shift to solution mode. It's the second thing you do. So who are you now, right? And then the last thing is the 100% responsibility letter. Write a letter to yourself taking full ownership of your life, including past mistakes and future commitments. And when you have this letter, read it out loud every morning for a week or even longer. That's how you really know who you really are in order for you to get to where you want to get to. So that's the first who. Who are you now? The second question that's always asked of me is, hey, Cease, look, I want to get, I know where I'm at. I want to go, right? I want to transform. I want to change. I want to become. So the second question is always asked is, I've written down my identity statements, but I don't fully believe them. How do I make them feel real instead of just words? This is how you do it. Because the only person you are destined to become is the person you decide to be. That's it. Because one of the things I've learned, when you want to get somewhere or achieve something, it is not who you are that is holding you back. It is who you think you are not. When I went into Funnel Hacking Live in 2020, when I saw those people walk the stage and win 2 Combo Cup awards and 2 Combo Cup X and 2 Combo Cup C awards, and I was like, man, it's not who I am right now that's holding back. It's who I think I'm not. And that day I gave myself permission that if these people can walk the stage, I can too. I became those people. And a year later, I grew my first 7-figure online business. So the question is, who do you want to be? Decide who you are and become your identity with affirmations. See, identity comes first. Then you believe. Then success happens. Your brain believes what you tell it repeatedly. If you want to become something, your brain believes what you tell it repeatedly. So the exercise I want you to do, that I've done for myself, is I am statements. First of this is write down limiting beliefs. Write down all limiting beliefs that you've had, that you've actually held about yourself. That's held you back. And then what you want to do is you want to rewrite them into powerful I am statements. And then the goal is to get it into your body, into your nervous system. What you want to do with that is you want to say them out loud every day for the next 30 days or even longer. So that's I am statements. And then do the act as if challenge. Fully embody your new identity that you have shifted to, that you want to shift to. And the act as if challenge is this. If you're, as an example, your identity statement is, I am a confident speaker, then act it. Give a talk or record a video. If your identity statement is, I am a business owner, successful business owner, then make decisions. Make a decision like a CEO would, like a successful CEO would. Act as if. If your identity statement is, I am fearless, then do something that scares you on purpose because you want to act as if. That's how you get this into your body. It's how you fully embody your new identity. The third question is, how do I start rewriting a story that feels so ingrained in my identity? Especially when it's tied to past failures and experiences. And just like Norman Vincent Peale said, change your thoughts and you'll change your world. Right? Change your thoughts and you'll change the world. The story that protects us is also the story that imprisons us. So rewrite your story, change your thoughts, change your life. These narratives can empower us or limit us. Rewrite narratives that transform your reality. Your narratives are the thing, the story is the thing that transforms your reality. By rewriting your story, you hold the pen to your own destiny. So how do you do it? The story of you exercise is one of the most powerful exercises that you can actually do for yourself, because I've done this many, many times. Write a story of you that highlights key events, achievements, and challenges that you face and you've overcome. Focus on how each event has contributed to your growth and what you've learned from them. And then share this story with a trusted friend or mentor, or reinforce, so that you can reinforce the positive aspects of the journey. Because when you're in it, you're like, I don't want to be in this. But when you came out the other side, you overcame that challenge. You figured out a way. The best way to get it into your body to reinforce that is to really write down what actually happened, the journey, share it, and get it into your body, and how it made you feel while you were during in it, as well as when you came out the other side. The story of you exercise is so powerful. Affirmation journaling is one of the key things that I do. I write down the things that, like, I am capable of achieving my goals. I embrace challenges and opportunities for growth. I am the author of my life. It's another great exercise to do. Visualizing, you have to get all that down. I spend 5 to 10 minutes daily visualizing your new story as if it has already come true, as if it's already done. Imagine how it feels, how it looks, how it smells, how it sounds to live in this new narrative, this new story. Visualizing is a great way to do it. You're creating results before it actually happens. You're transforming your reality. And then the fourth question that I always ask me is, I feel like people, especially, right, my family and friends would judge me. How do I actually stop letting their opinions hold me back? The story that you tell yourself is a story that either protects you, imprisons you, but the story that others talk about you also, most of us let it imprison us. And the day that you stop caring what other people think of you is the day that your life begins, is the day you start living. Overcoming your kryptonite is achieving the freedom of not giving an F. Right? Stop caring what others think. The reality is, though, the truth is that no one is thinking about you as much as you think they are. The moment you stop living for the approval of others is when you really step into your power, especially women, especially you. So how do you overcome your kryptonite? Do the what if exercise. The what if exercise is you're going to write down your biggest fear about what others think about you. Then write down a list of all the potential positive outcomes of not caring. If you just don't care, what's a positive outcome of this? And then reflect on how often your fears are grounded in reality versus your imagination. Do people really spend that much time thinking about me, right? Of what I'm saying, who I am, what I'm doing? No, you'll find that it's just your imagination. And the only limitation is your imagination. The 5-minute challenge. For 5 minutes each day, do something that makes you feel free and authentic without worrying about how others will perceive you. And then reflect on how it feels to break free from the need of validation. And then the affirmation practice. Create affirmations that reinforce your freedom from others' opinions. And then repeat them daily. I am enough as I am. My worth is not defined by others. I choose to live authentically. And that is why I talk about the 5 who's that really matter the most in your life. Is the who you run with, is the who that inspires you, is the who you're called to serve. But before you can do all of that, before you can be comfortable going into a room of your peer group to run with them, before you are comfortable with getting a coach and go into a room of people that inspire you, before you can go and build your own room of who you're called to serve, it starts with you. It starts with who you are now and who you want to become. And just those things matter. Stop caring about what other people think about you. Overcome that kryptonite. You write your own story. Because that story is the thing that it starts there, right? Before you even care about what other people say about you, let's look at yourself. Let's care about what you say to yourself first. And second is really identify who is it you actually want to become. How do you go about doing that? Writing it down, words themselves is not good enough. You got to get it into your body. You got to embody it. Affirmations. And then before you can get to where you want to get, you got to really take a look and take responsibility for who you are now. What you possess, what you're missing. And take radical responsibility for yourself. And if you can do that, you're ready. Your business will blow up. And you'll be ready for all those frameworks and those strategies and all the mechanics that you need to be successful. For you to go into these rooms and run with a peer group, for you to go into these rooms that inspire you, and for you to build your own room of the people that you're actually called to serve. That's it. Anybody have any questions? Want to have a discussion? Haley's got a big smile on her face. Yes.
I guess if nobody's, I feel like I just went to church. I was like, yes, preach it. This was so good. Like, I feel so empowered again. I think all of these are really good, but today's was gold, and whoever missed it, I'm sad for them. I really hope they can get these slides later, because this is so good, like now we have homework. Well, I'm going to do this for sure. And I like the no excuses one because I felt like I was getting called out a little, not me personally, but all of us probably feel that way. And I think the what if one is really good because that's the biggest one that's holding me back. It's constantly like seeing, maybe that is my problem, seeing other women so curated with the whole team behind them. And it's just me, the baby. And I'm like, dang, so I think this was really good today. So thanks for that.
Yeah, well, you're welcome. Mm-hmm. All right, well, guys, we are at our hour mark here, and I really appreciate you hopping on again. Those are the 5 who's that matter most in your life. The number 3, 4, and 5, right? The room that you're looking to build, the people you're called to serve, the people that that inspire you, the room that you're looking to enter, and the room of your peer group that you are walking into to run with. All of that, get ready for it, right? And the best way to get ready is understand who it is that you really want to become. And then before you can get to where the destination you want is, it's really kind of identifying like who you are now, right? What do you possess and how do you make those shifts? All right. Have an amazing rest of the day, guys.